Hey everyone. So today I picked up the most recent edition of Number Magazine, which is like Japan's Sports Illustrated. This is kind of a kickoff issue for the 2024 baseball season, and it features 3 stars from the Hanshin Tigers, my Hanshin Tigers, who won the Japan Series at long last for the first time in almost 40 years last season. And this edition is kind of highlighting the team and the players. This is Yusuke Oyama. This is Koji Chikamoto, who is my favorite Japanese player who is not in the major leagues. And this is Teruaki Sato. So I'm going to basically what I thought I would do with this video is introduce the Tigers, kind of the current team, the team that you would see if you went and watched them play. So I'll be talking about these 3 guys and more. So yeah, this title here says like the Hanshin Tigers, what they need to go back to back, or what they need to win back to back championships, basically. So yeah, I'm gonna get into the players. I'm just gonna go into the lineup. Basically, a kind of typical lineup that you'd probably see uh, on any given day. Not necessarily set in stone as you might expect, um, but just something very typical. So most of these I'm going to show with the 2021 Topps Chrome MPB set. I have the entire Tigers team set from the inaugural MPB Chrome, and almost all of the refractors. Only a couple of cards I don't have the refractor of. But anyway, I'm just going to start with the leadoff hitter. So this guy I mentioned a little earlier, he's on the cover of the magazine. That's Koji Chikamoto, my favorite Tiger and my favorite Japanese player not in the major leagues. So Chikamoto is the center fielder for the Tigers, and he always bats leadoff. He's super fast. He's a little guy. Like he not a lot of power as you might expect, but high average, really fast, steals bags. In fact, I was at a game where he hit 2 triples in one game, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, Chikamoto always the leadoff hitter and playing center field. And then next, we've got batting second. So batting second, the second baseman, Takumu Nakano. And Nakano is a little bit like, well, this is just a joke. It's not. I'm not like throwing shade at him. He's basically like the sort of he's kind of like a slightly inferior carbon copy of Chikamoto. It's kind of like, Mom, can we have Chikamoto? No, we have Chikamoto at home. Kind of Kirkland's best Costco brand version of Chikamoto. Like he steals bases, but not as many as Chikamoto. He's a high average guy, but not quite as high as Chikamoto, um, and so on. So naturally, he's the number 2 hitter. He's not the leadoff hitter, but that's not really fair because Nakano's a great player in his own right. But it is kind of funny that he is very. He's also the same listed height as Chikamoto, which is they're basically just, yeah, it's like 1A and 1B, and Nakano's not quite as good. And he's second base and the second hitter. But this is cool because it's a rookie card and it's also the refractor. So then let's see here. At least more recently, or starting this season, Batting third, batting third and playing right field, at least in the last game I watched, but I would expect this configuration to hold to be regular, maybe. Shota Morishita was a rookie last year. So like I said, he was batting third and playing right field in the last game that I saw. Morishita saw quite a bit of time last year, almost a full season. He seems to be like a pretty good hitter in the making. It looks like he might have a pretty nice clutch gene. So we'll see what happens with him. But I would expect him to be slotted in pretty regularly this year too, and we'll just kind of see how he develops. So then, let's see here. Okay, so next. So batting cleanup and playing first, Yusuke Oyama. And Oyama is, I would say, like probably overall the best hitter on the team. Just if you took a combination of average and power, pretty high average, hits home runs. I would say Oyama is probably overall the best hitter on the team. And so he's a big first baseman and a slugger. And the Tigers, one thing I will say, besides Morishita, who was a rookie last year, all of these guys have formed a core that's been together for like at least a few years. All the guys I've shown so far, so the Tigers really have sort of a really consistent core to the team. And our next player is really no exception to that either. This is Teruaki Sato, who is playing third base and batting fifth. Now, Sato is kind of, what do I want to say about Sato? He, I feel like maybe on the team his star is like a little brighter than it should be. But there's a big reason for, well, for one, he's a pretty good player. But the main reason I think is that Sato is like as hometown of a hometown kid as you can possibly be. So basically, to use an analogy, it would be like if the Brooklyn Dodgers, let's say the Brooklyn Dodgers had a player who was not just from Brooklyn, because of course, Sandy Koufax was from Brooklyn and things like that. But not only just from Brooklyn, but like actually from Flatbush. Like if the Brooklyn Dodgers had a player who is from Flatbush, that would be like Teruaki Sato because Sato uh, was born and raised in the neighborhood where Koshien Stadium is. So he's as hometown as you can possibly get. And he's a decent player. Yeah, he's just strikes out all the time. It's home run or strikeout. Uh, and sometimes he's frustrating to watch. I think there's kind of a sense that like he's still not quite as special or good as people were sort of expecting, or but then maybe there was just a little too much expectation or pressure given his kind of life situation and the team he's playing for and things like that. So, but yeah, Teruaki Sato, he always gets his home runs every year and things like that. So then next, batting sixth, the left fielder, and unfortunately I don't have any cards of him. I don't think I have any Japanese cards or American cards. That's Sheldon Noisy. And you might know Sheldon Noisy. I think he was with the A's for a while. And then he came to Japan, he came to the Tigers and found some success. Sheldon Noisy in left, he actually Sheldon Noisy recorded the final out of the Japan series last year. And he also has kind of drawn, however superficial, he's drawn some comparisons to Randy Bass, the other, American Tigers legend who won their '85 Japan series with them. So, for what it's worth, he's kind of Randy Bass 2.0. Sheldon Noisy, unfortunately, I don't have any cards of him. And then well, not finally, I don't know what I'm talking about. So next, batting seventh, the catcher, Seishiro Sakamoto, although this one requires maybe a little more explanation. Seishiro Sakamoto, at least for the past, better part of a decade, he's had a pretty interesting role with the team. He's essentially been the Tigers' long tenured second catcher. Like he's been on the team forever, just as the second catcher, essentially. So he always gets a chunk of games a year. However, the usual catcher of the Tigers, at least for the past decade or so, has been this guy, Ryutaro Umeno. And Umeno, within the last couple years, has definitely become less and less the main catcher for the team. At this point, I would say, like the last couple seasons, basically Umeno and Sakamoto have basically just been in like a catcher platoon. They've pretty much just been the tandem of catchers for the team, with no, clearly established number one guy. They kind of work in tandem at this point. And it's a little bit. The last game I watched was like a total microcosm of their relationship, because Sakamoto was the starting catcher, and then Umeno came in and pinch hit. So for Sakamoto, that's at one point, and yeah, so they kind of just they come as a set basically. So and then let's see here. So then we have batting eighth, or at least as a starter, right? You've got Seiya Kinami, who is the shortstop. And so then batting ninth is the pitcher. So while the major leagues have gone back to, or gone back to, have gone to a universal DH, Japan still does the one league has the pitcher hit and one league has the DH thing. It's the Central League, so the pitcher still hits. So I'm going to go through a couple notable Tigers pitchers. The opening day pitcher for the Tigers this year was Koyo Aoyagi, this guy. And Aoyagi, he is a sidearm pitcher, and he is pretty good. But at this point, he is definitely not the best pitcher on the team, or at least he wasn't last year. So the best pitcher on the Tigers last year was this guy. This is Shoki Murakami, and no relation to Munetaka Murakami. Shoki Murakami was a rookie last year. A true rookie last year, although as you can see, this is his rookie card from 2021. But Shoki Murakami kind of came out of nowhere last year and became the team's best pitcher. And not only that, he won Rookie of the Year, and not only that, he also won Central League MVP. So Shoki Murakami just had a hell of a season last year, a hell of a rookie year, and won MVP. Now, personally, I think that Koji Chikamoto should have won Central League MVP, overall MVP, rather than Murakami. Um, I don't know. I feel like Japan maybe kind of slightly hates pitchers less than major league writers or what. I don't mean like hate, but we're in the majors, right? The writers and stuff are gonna think of any excuse not to give MVP to a pitcher, right? But like they have to be very exceptional. But anyway, so they gave it to Murakami, and I don't know. I mean, he had a great year, but Chikamoto plays every day, stellar year. Oh well, it's still a Tiger, so what am I complaining about? One other thing, it's like even though Murakami established himself as the best pitcher on the team, definitely not really a question about that based on last year. Murakami did establish himself as the best pitcher on the team, the ace. Um, Even so, the opening day pitcher was still Koyo Aoyagi. And I would say this is a pretty Japanese thing. It's like probably if this were a major league team with the team, Murakami would have been given the opening day nod to be the starter. But in Japan, there's a this you gotta sort of defer to the elder statesmen on the team. So Japan has a term senpai, which means something like a senior uh, among a relative peer group, but still a senior member. So they're fellow players, but he is the older, longer tenured player. And even though he was not even close to being a better pitcher than Murakami last year, Aoyagi, being the senpai, still got the opening day nod, which again is very Japanese. So yeah, just a fun little cultural tidbit there. So yeah, that is all I've got for you guys today. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.